Hey, good morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm still waking up. It's Friday, TGIF, everybody. Welcome. Back at the regular time. I like this time better. That was I think that was the consensus from everybody from the last one. And let's see who's here today. Welcome. Friday morning. I've got my coffee. It's full, which is great. Stan. Stan, welcome to the live stream. Stan, I think this is maybe your first time, so a good group of people usually pop in, talk a little bit about investing, usually get sidetracked, but we usually have a decent time for an hour. Go on, obviously, if this is your first time coming in, 8 o'clock to roughly 9 o'clock Pacific time. Welcome. And Abigail, welcome back, Abigail. Nice to see you. That's great. Welcome for joining. So Friday is looking okay today, I guess. I took a quick look at the market. I guess not so good if you own Amazon, or if you look at it the other way around, maybe a good day to dollar cost average on Amazon if that's something that you hold. Down a little bit, I guess, on earnings for that one, but some good news though is Apple. Apple was looking good today, so it's that's always kind of nice. And let's just say some more hellos. I guess I should wait for the hellos to come in. It's always a bit of a delay with people coming in and when the live streams start. Hi Nadia, good morning. So Nadia's here, Abigail's here, Stan, and Jason. Welcome. Hey, welcome back, Jason. I've got my coffee. Good morning. All good. We were talking about the market kind of starting up here. Apple looks decent. If anybody has Apple in their portfolio, I guess their earnings were was it today or was it it must have been today. No, last night, I guess, after. So record revenue, even as iPhone sales were less than expected. So that's good for Apple if you own Apple, especially. In terms of talking about stuff today, I wanted to kind of go over, and I don't know if we kind of touched on it briefly in yesterday's live stream about like subscription services and stuff like that. So kind of makes sense talking about Apple because they have their they do have their subscription service for shows and stuff like that too. And to get comfortable here in my chair, they also, so we did talk about, like, how all these subscription services coming in your credit card bill, and one of mine was StreamYard. I'll get this right eventually, pointing in the right direction. And I did a video yesterday, so if you haven't had a chance to see that, go check it out it's on my channel, obviously. When the time comes after the stream, go check it out. But basically what I'm going to start doing, and if anybody wants to take that little bit of a challenge with me, is I've canceled my StreamYard subscription because it was costing me, I worked it out into Canadian, it was $25 US a month. Good morning. Hi, Candice. Good morning. So it worked out to worked out Canadian, worked out to roughly right now, because the Canadian dollar is, compared to the US dollar is so strong, $33.68 a month that I would be paying for StreamYard. So I'm going to take that subscription, and this is where that video kind of came up, a little bit of a challenge, maybe go through your subscriptions or a reoccurring payment or something that you have coming off your credit card every month. So I'm not going to pay that anymore. Instead, every month, so every first of the month, we'll start this next week, I'm going to take that basically, equivalent dollar amount that I would normally be paying for that, and I'm going to be investing in a new stock or ETF. And there's been a couple people who have mentioned things. I know Candice this morning actually commented XEG. So that's that's an oil ETF. Let me just pull it up so I get the actual name, what it calls it. Is it a BlackRock? I think it is. Yeah, if I remember correctly. For iShares, yeah, iShares. Let's find out about it. XEG. TSX Capped Energy ETF. So that one might be a good idea. The prices, obviously, with being in oil, it's going to be a bit volatile, but price is right to be able to purchase it. That was kind of a bit of the goal too, is be able to be, either be able to purchase the whole share, or if it's something that I could do like fractionally with that amount, so I can kind of segment that off just to see what would happen. So I think with that one, yeah, that'll be in the running, Candice, for sure. What I was going to do with everybody's, a lot of these suggestions that I've got, is put them in a poll on the community tab just to see what people think. So I will definitely put that on the list. If that one gets chosen, I might have to pick kind of something else in order to be able to put it into the extra part into it. It would be nice to find one maybe with a like that it can get done fractionally. That would be kind of handy, because then that way I can kind of put the full amount no matter what into something, just to make life simpler. But if there's maybe has to get two, that's okay. Maybe pick one that I can for sure probably be able to get at least one share with, and then a second one, maybe some kind of ETF or something that I can, another ETF or another stock that I can put a fractional purchase in part two and keep track of that. So I plan to do that I'm going to do that for a year just to see what happens. And then I'm also going to take a look and see if I have there might be another subscription that, I don't think I can get rid of Netflix because I watch Netflix, but maybe with that new ad supported Netflix that's coming out, I think it's coming out November 1st, if I'm not mistaken, is maybe like lower my subscription on something and take that extra and put it into investing as well. And just to see what would happen in a year, what I'd have, because I don't think I'm going to miss necessarily, I don't think I'm going to miss StreamYard. Netflix might a bit more if I make that commitment for a year, but there's probably another one like, I have Amazon Prime, which I use Amazon a fair bit, but I could probably get away with being a bit more like saving that and then just using regular Amazon for shipping and stuff like that, making sure my cart's a higher, $25 for free shipping, something like that. So, and then you don't necessarily get it the next day or whatever, but that's okay as well. So maybe there's something I guess that whole idea of that video is take a look at when your next credit card bill comes in and see if there's anything that you have as like a reoccurring payment that you can put into an investment instead, and we'll see how it goes over the year. It'd be kind of fun to just kind of check up on that when we do the regular videos and see how it goes. That could be kind of fun. I think a fun one maybe to do would be to Apple, because I remember there's probably the website is probably still out there, but there's a website that works out like it kind of works out like buying something from Apple, or instead using what that cost of it was and buying Apple stock instead and how much it would be today. So you can like, if I didn't buy an iPod, how much would that stock be worth today? That kind of thing. It breaks it down. So it's kind of interesting. So there might be something like that. Like for example, if I was to cut off Netflix and I just put that money in Netflix stock instead, just to see what would happen after a year. So kind of a fun little challenge. So hopefully you can do it too. Let me know if you are thinking of maybe to do that, or let me know in the comments if there's any subscription that you could, what subscription do you think you could cancel for a year and put into an investment instead. So we'll see. And Mark, welcome to the channel. Is it market seeing a legitimate bull run, or is it just a rally? I would love to see if it was a little legitimate bull run, but I think we're just in a bit of a rally. Yeah, that's a really good question. It would be nice. I think we're almost out of the work. I don't know. I like to be optimistic and think we're almost kind of out of the worst of it. We can see that with, I guess it will be telling a bit next month, not next month, but next week, is that the Fed meets next week, right, with their rates, because Bank of Canada this week earlier has looks to be slowing down on their increases. So hopefully if that continues, I think we'll definitely start to see the rise again. I don't know. Good question. It's definitely, everything's definitely down, I think. But if you look at it on another side, is if you're investing long term, these are just blips in, I think, opportunity. I mean, everybody always says, I wish I had. You look back, right, and you go, oh, I wish I had done more. You obviously don't want to put all your money into equities in the stock market, but if you're doing your dollar cost averaging and your purchases, I think this is a great opportunity on things, and not to necessarily look at prices every day, because that will make you go crazy. Unless obviously there's day traders that do that, and that's what they do for a job. But it would drive me nuts to do that. So I don't know. I don't think we're necessarily in that bull run, but a little bit of rally is always nice. We've had a good month, right? October, we'll call it. Will it continue November? I don't know. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe things will kind of slow down, and we might get a good December, right? We didn't really get the Santa rally last year, but maybe this year we will, going into the new year. how things go. Yeah, let's see. If we check the charts, S&P 500 charts, BFE, higher low, bound. Yeah, clear downtrend. Yeah, it's that pretty much sums it up. I just don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball. Does anybody have a crystal ball? I don't think so, right? I don't think it's time to necessarily be doing anything highly speculative, like, but I mean, VFE is pretty diversified, it's obviously equities, but it's pretty diversified in there, and not a bad, place to dollar cost average into during this time. If you're unsure, right? If you're unsure, yeah, it's 50-50. Like, I don't know. I don't, it's, I don't know. I don't know. Everything comes around, right? I think, I guess maybe one thing to look at, as I have some coffee here, and what I've been kind of reading about, and that makes sense. There you go. When in doubt, zoom out, keep investing. I think that's a good theory. Yeah, but a lot of people have sold, like, if you read, like, a lot of people, Mark, have have taken have sold, right? And uh that's the big draw. The big drawdown is huge. Like, we talked about it earlier this week. Was it how many billion came out of mutual funds, and past month and stuff like that? So it's obviously having an effect on the prices, right? But I think if you just, head down, keep your, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of head down, keeping with my regular, deposits and purchases, and investing on a regular schedule, and not as much sweating this day to day. And then when the rally actually does come, I'll be in good position, hopefully, with things, and go from that. Yeah, and I agree with that, right? Nothing wrong with selling to make money, right? But that's the thing. It's hard sometimes, because especially right now, right? I mean, everything is more. We've talked about it all the time. Everything is more expensive, but and it doesn't last forever, right? If you can look back in the time, history repeats, right? You can look back when we thought it was over, and it always, nothing does last forever. So I think patience is a big one. Patience is a big one to have. You always want to make a quick buck, right? Who doesn't, right? But it's hard sometimes to be patient, but it's what you need to kind of do in this time. But it is hard if you don't have the assets to keep doing it. But back to the start of the stream, I don't know if you're on, talking about if there's different things or different ways that you can adjust your lifestyle to be able to put a small amount into something that you normally wouldn't do. I think this is the time to kind of look at things like that, because obviously, like we said, everything is getting way more expensive with inflation. So there's ways to, like I said, I'm going to be canceling. I've canceled my StreamYard, so that's another $33.68 that every month I can put into a new stock or investment. So there's different ways, I think, that people can. There's different ways that people can make these changes, right? I had a little bit of a in Twitter yesterday back on that with costs and stuff like that, because you go into Twitter and everybody's posting like pictures of their grocery bill, or what they buy, and someone had purchased a pound of coffee, pound of Tim Hortons coffee, a bag of what are the chips? I don't eat Miss Vicky's chips, which are really good, but I don't eat chips. Miss Vicky's chips, and the third thing was like a nice loaf of bread, like a loaf of sourdough bread. It was a nice loaf of bread, and the receipt, right? And it's like, why does it? And the question was like, why does this cost $21? And if that was me at a store, I would look at it and go, okay, why are these chips $5.50 for the bag of chips? Why not buy something that's less expensive as an off-brand, no-name brand name, to save a buck or two, And the coffee, like I've talked about before, like I went online and looked, that same pound of coffee was $2 cheaper on Amazon for the exact same thing. So right there, you buy a lower bag of, a cheaper bag of chips and a cheaper place to buy a thing of coffee, and you save yourself basically $5. So there's ways to do it. It's just you have to make sacrifices, right? And we're so used to just going out and buying whatever we want and not having to necessarily think of the prices, right? But I think you start to should. So there's ways, Mark, for you to, and you don't need a lot to start out. I mean, anything is better than zero. If it was me, I mean, bag of chips. I don't eat chips. So, my snack thing is I make popcorn. So I can buy a big bag of popcorn for $5, and it lasts me like how many, however long. So there's just ways to be more frugal with stuff, to be able to put more money into your long-term investment. So, and good morning, Zach. Welcome. Lots of people here today. That's great. Hopefully everybody's got their coffee. Good morning. I've been meaning to ask Zach too, because his avatar is him in a tie. I wonder if you wear a tie every day. I could never wear a tie to work every day. I'm so used to working from home, and I wear my hoodie and t-shirts. That's good. Mark, good question here. Recent purchase of BTC.Y. What are your thoughts on staking crypto? Yeah, I did the live stream yesterday about staking crypto. I do. We didn't get a lot into detail outside of Wealthsimple, but I do have a few. Actually, I have quite a bit of different tokens staked. I think if you're holding it long term, yes, why not? Like, why wouldn't you? The only downside with that is if it's on an exchange like Wealthsimple. Let's just use that for example, because it's what most people I think are watching that use it. It's easy to get it out of staking. Whereas if you do it on your own, there's always a lockup period, right? So for example, probably up to 2 weeks, 21 days, depending on that. So there's obviously some risk with that. So do your own research. Obviously, with like BTC.Y is Bitcoin. You can't. Bitcoin's not a staking coin, like cryptocurrency. It's the proof of work. So I think it's nice to get the yield on what they do. With what that ETF does is a good way to get yield, I think, in your ETF from it. Other than that, like if you're holding Bitcoin on your own, it's there, right? Just storing or holding or whatever you want to do with it. I just have it on. I do buy Bitcoin daily, just a little bit, and I keep it on. I have it on Shakepay, and then I just once a week I transfer it out into my I transfer out of the exchange onto it's on the blockchain, but I have the ledger with the keys. Yeah. But I on the note with crypto, and I think in looking at it too, I think it's almost like if you look at what Bitcoin does, it'll lead the market. So if we're looking like we were talking about, like you were talking about, Mark, with bull run and everything else. I think if you look at Bitcoin a little bit, it preceded obviously it dropped this year, but it preceded the market drop. And I think if you look at it going forward, it will precede the market run as well. It's actually been doing okay lately, up a little bit. It's been relatively flat since that big drop, but it's starting to kind of tick up a little bit. I think if you see it maybe start to really run, that might be a sign of the market coming back too. I don't know. Could be that. That's kind of one thing I'm looking at. But again, with Bitcoin, I'm just kind of dollar cost averaging, small little purchase every day, and then I do my shake. So, but I will be buying more BTC.Y in my TFSA, because that's the only way you can really hold. The ETFs are the only way you can hold the digital currency in your ETF in your registered accounts, right? Good, but that's a good question. Lots of questions coming up here. Whoa, got to catch up. This is great. Look for the sales. Yeah, groceries. They are exactly. And I totally do. And what makes it so what makes it so easy? Like I don't have my phone here, but I use the app for it's a Superstore on the West Coast, so it's a law. I guess if you're Ontario, it's like I think they call them all Loblaws out there, but and I probably pronounce it wrong, but uh, it's Superstore here, and they have the app, and you do all your stuff in the cart so you can see the prices. But then what I can do is like say let's just use coffee for example, because it's something that I buy all the time. It's my like one of my vices, one of my vices that I'll spend money on. But the type of coffee I like, you can sometimes find on special. So I mean, I don't care where I buy it, so I can look at it. I can either order it through curbside and pick it up at Superstore when I go pick up grocery list, or if I look on Amazon, I can sometimes get it for a pound of coffee for $10.99, whereas at the store it's like sometimes $18, $16. Sometimes it will go on sale for $10.99. But just look around, look for a deal. There's nothing wrong with looking for a deal. Check out the flyers, right? That's kind of what I do. And there's nothing wrong with buying a no-name brand of something. I mean, half the time they're just as good, right? Or the same product. Look for deals, but also like with groceries, you make decisions, right? Like if I'm sitting in a grocery store and, okay, I want to buy a bag of chips. Like there's been times when you see things that the big thing for me right now is butter. Like butter, I used to put on my popcorn, but then you look at the price of a pound of butter, and I think, number one, I guess for my, for health wise, do I need butter on my popcorn all the time? Probably not. So I use olive oil, which is not, olive oil is not cheap, but you buy a nice bottle of olive oil and it lasts longer than a pound of butter. So, you can just make choices like that, and it's fine. Like you just have to, change your habits with what you buy, and do without, like, back to chips. Like, if you don't really need them, do you really need them? Why not save? That's how I don't know. That's how I always think when I'm out shopping for things. You look at something and you're like, oh, I'd really like that, but like, I can do without a bag of chips for $5. I'll just have something else. So that's kind of how we go. And so no tie. I don't think I even own a tie anymore, Zach. It's too funny. I used to have to. I mean, I didn't used to have to wear the suits, but for the job and stuff, I had like, when you go to like, you have to go to meetings and stuff like that, or conferences and stuff, you'd have to wear the shirt and tie. Now I just skip skip it altogether. I think no, I don't even have a suit. Funny thing with suits, I did have suits. I used to have all the fancy clothes, but I lost a bunch of weight, so I got rid of them all because nothing fit. So, and I never bought new ones. So that's kind of funny. Which was funny because I donated a bunch of old clothes that I couldn't fit in because I was too big for them. So I got rid of all those, and then you'd lose weight, and all the clothes I got rid of, they didn't fit anymore. So go figure. But it's nice to work from home, so I can wear a t-shirt and it's fine. If I have to go on a more like fancy meeting Zoom call, I just put on a polo, can put on a polo shirt or something like that. The collar it looks okay. Back in university, yeah. I have a friend that used to wear a tie every day to work. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with getting dressed up. That's all right. And oh, Mark, yeah, good call. Beer's expensive. I shouldn't say I don't drink, but I'm not a big drinker. That was part of the whole thing with losing weight too. Is I cut off drinking, and I have beer every once in a while. Like I have some in the fridge, and I think I've had a 6-pack in the fridge for 2 months now. So I'll maybe have one every once in a while, but yeah, it's pricey. You add that up, right? Look at that on your bank bill when if you're going every weekend or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to go down on anybody for if they're drinking, don't drink a lot, but if you're going every weekend, you're spending, what is it? It's like almost $16, $20. I mean, depending what you depending what brand you buy. I couldn't tell you how much the last one cost me because I'm not there very often. But yeah, that's one way. That's definitely one way. Or I guess another way to cut back that is like instead of going out to the pub, have you do it at home, right? Have people over for drinks instead of heading to the bar. If my 20-year-old self was listening to me now, I could have saved so much money by not going out to the club every Friday and Saturday night after work. I would have been a millionaire. Maybe not, but pretty close. Yeah, that's too funny. So there's always one little thing to cut back. I don't know if anybody has any other ideas for cutting back stuff. I'm going to definitely look at my bills when they come through. There's going to be one more thing I can kind of cut back every month. I'm thinking, yeah, something small could be quite easy, because it's crazy how much it adds up. Like if you're putting in, $25 a month, that's what, $300 a year, right? So it's I think it will pay off. We'll see how that goes. That's going to kind of be a fun one to try. And then hopefully in the meantime, everything starts to maybe inflation starts to come down a little bit. So things get cheaper for everybody, to make it a bit easier to start investing maybe some more, which is hard. But you don't need to do a lot, right? As we know, to kind of have things move forward. Good question, Haas. Sorry, Haas. Welcome, Shama. I think it's your first time comment, so welcome. Good questions. Yeah, so I've answered that a little bit on my channel. I do have a video, but we'll get into it. Yeah, I started right away when I was, oh gosh, like this is going way back. I've always been a bit of a saver. So I've always had like my RSP that I've done slowly, slowly built up. But I wasn't like really into it, right? But this is before even, I want to say, I'm going to really date myself, right? But this is like before the internet, right? So it wasn't easy to do the DIY. There was no DIY stuff, right? You had to basically go to the bank, make an appointment, sit down with someone, you buy mutual funds and that kind of thing. So I always had that kind of happening in when I was growing up, when I was younger. And then what influenced me to start doing it myself is the availability of it, right? So, and part of it was I worked with a company before that had a pension, but I had left that company, and that pension was sitting in it had to get transferred out because it was no longer available, because you're not in that company anymore. So you have to move it and do something with it yourself. And I moved it, but you start to realize when you're not, because the pension is it's in a lira, so locked in. It's like a locked in account. I can't touch it. I can't take anything out of it. I can't put any money into it. So it's basically sitting there. So you have to be really on top of what it's doing. And what I noticed is, obviously because I'm not putting any money into it, I'm not taking advantage of any like growth at all with it, other than dividends that come in. But what I was realizing was the fees on my lira, my account, were like huge. So I was basically just treading water almost. I mean, with the run up on the market in 2020, it was I mean, everybody made money no matter what you did after the drop and then the backup, right? So it was making money, but I looked at the fees, and then I looked at Wealthsimple, because you could transfer an account in there for free. They would cover the cost of transfer, and the fees were way less. So I just worked out like what I was paying in my investment with this other institution as to what I would be paying with Wealthsimple. and it was just a no-brainer. So that's kind of why I went DIY. And then since transferring that over, then of course you have the trade side. And I thought, okay, well, this will be kind of fun to see. I never had a TFSA other than a TFSA savings account, because at the beginning I mean, I knew eventually that you could have a trading account in your TFSA and do your own DIY, but I had never done anything with it. So I just took the opportunity to start to do that, and I started that on basically April 1st, 2021 is when I started that. So and started the channel, and part of that partly too with the TFSA. Obviously I have the YouTube channel, but I do have another YouTube channel that has revenue coming through, and I use basically a portion of that basically goes towards my investing in this one, because before what was happening is it's just the whole mindset change. Like that money would come in from advertisers, right? You get the money every month, and then you'd blow it, you'd spend it on something, right? And you have nothing really to show for it long term. So it's just kind of using it to kind of build and hopefully have something to kind of show for your hard work going forward. So that's kind of how I started doing it DIY, learning as we go. Definitely, you make mistakes, right? Everybody does. I have, with certain things, but you learn as you go with things. And I think the portfolio, it takes a good year to kind of figure out where you want to be with what you're investing in. Everybody's different with, what they like to invest in. And I think it's slowly but surely got there. Obviously the market's down, which is never, it's not great to look at, but I think my lookout is long enough out that I'm happy with what I've started to build on the journey. So yeah. But I did start, like, gosh, I was probably, 20 or whatever with this, I used to have a savings account as a kid, but other than that, probably around 20 when I started with RSP stuff. Yeah. You can check out, if you go back on my channel, just search through some of the videos. There's a video I have on there where I talk about like everything investing that I've kind of started and how I started it. You could always brew your own beer. You could. I have done that before, actually. Change the spirit, and welcome back. I have actually done that before. It was decent, actually. A couple of them, and then I stopped. Why did I stop doing it? Oh, the place that sold the stuff closed, and then I just kind of got out of it. But I did a few batches. But the downside with brewing your own beer, well, I guess there's it's a pros and cons. Your place smells like a brewery, which can be good or bad, I guess, depending how you look at it. But also with brewing your own beer, is in the batch you get a lot of it, so you find yourself drinking more beer, which isn't necessarily a good thing either. And the downside is, like, I remember making one before, and it was just like you get a batch and you make it, and it's like it's just terrible. It's just like, oh. So you're stuck with all this gross beer that you don't like. But I like dark. When I do have beer, I like dark beer. And I did a couple like homebrew dark beers that were really good. You kind of need a garage or something to keep it out of the way, because it can definitely, as it does its thing, right? It can get kind of stinky, yeasty, like a yeast brewery smell. But I guess that's good or bad, depending how you consider that. But that's one way to do it. But it is a lot cheaper. That's for sure. You get a ton for, fraction of the cost. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, check out the channel. I think it's your first time kind of viewing, or maybe a first time commenting, obviously. But I do have it on my channel. Just search back some of the old videos. It's let me just see if I can find what it actually is called. Let me sorry, bear with me. I'll search it. It's called, oh, here we go. I can probably share this in the chat. Here, there you go, Haas. It's this video here. So if you bookmark that, it might not show. There we go. Yeah, there we go. It's like my investing. What do I call it? It's called my past investment experience. So you can look at that up, and you'll see. It's all there. I don't know if you can click that in the chat or not, but you can always go back. It's all good. Growing, okay, yeah. We talked a little bit just yesterday too. Firm believer, growing your own food or making whatever you can to save money. Most things. Yeah, it's true. You can do different things, definitely, to make. I mean, I do a lot. Like I mentioned before, having come from being a chef years and years and years ago, and having the training for that, I do basically cooking everything at home. So I don't buy a lot of pre pre-made stuff. And with all the recipes out there right now, you can find online, it's pretty easy, you know. So you can actually make, you know, obviously I'm not growing my own stuff, but I'm a lot of the stuff I'm you know, making from scratch, right? So instead of, if I have a salad, I'll make the salad dressing instead of buying a, you know, expensive bottle of salad dressing. That kind of thing. Make definitely everything from scratch. I don't really buy I don't buy prepackaged stuff, you know, if that makes sense. Like frozen, you know what I mean? Like frozen, you know, like you can buy like a lasagna. I'll make a lasagna instead of buying frozen stuff. Same with uh, whatever. Like if you're buying chicken or something, I'll buy actual chicken, as opposed to frozen breaded chicken or something. So if I want to make a chicken burger, I can I'll bread it myself and make a chicken burger, something like that. Like that kind of thing. I don't really buy the pre-done, nothing pre-done meals at all. So it's cheaper to actually, you know, you're better off to be, you can be a bit more frugal, I guess the word, but you can definitely save money, right? By doing it yourself. The old, what they say in the supermarket, like stick to the, it's true, is literally stick to the outsides, right? You go this fresh, you know, the fresh fruits and vegetables section. In the back is the meats and the cheese, you know, the cheese and the dairy, and then the sides is you know, that's what you buy. And go, and then you don't, you know, stick away from the expensive cereal aisle and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I do. And I think I eat pretty good. I'm not complaining, you know. You can make a nice like Caesar salad at home. I mean, lettuce is expensive, right? But you can buy a big, you know, it's like 3 or 4 heads of romaine lettuce is like, it's expensive now at like $4 or $5, but that'll give you like a few like giant salad, you know, salad. You make a Caesar salad dressing from scratch with you just use, you know, mayonnaise, fresh garlic, some lemon, and you know, and as opposed to going out for that, you know, you put a piece of grilled chicken on it or something like that. But if you went out to a restaurant for a Caesar salad, it's going to cost you like close to $20 now. And then you add in a drink if you have a drink and everything else, and then all of a sudden it's $30, where you can make it at home for two people. You can make it for 10, $11 or less, really. So yeah, there's ways to do it. I mean, I wish I was able to. I mean, I don't have a garden, so but that'd be kind of nice. I think on the patio next year we'll definitely do like some tomato plants and stuff like that once summer hits. To get those, you know, if you have a cherry tomato plant, you get so many cherry tomatoes. So there might be a few things you kind of do in containers or something like that. But it's the investment, and the investment's your time, right? If you're cooking from home, it does take a little bit, you know, it can take a little bit longer. But I think you get good at it. If you plan what you make, it doesn't take as long, and you can save money. Definitely save money. It would definitely be hard. I mean, I feel for people that have kids for sure. I mean, I don't have kids, right? So it's a bit easier maybe with what it's a bit easier with what you eat, because you can just settle for what you got. You know, you don't have to worry about other people's kids' taste buds. But that's okay. Most people call me cheap and approved, but not frugal. It's funny. Yeah, it I don't think there's anything wrong with being cheap. I'll tell people I don't want to go because I'm cheap. It's too cheap. Like I'd rather not. But there's been times like with friends and stuff. Like, well, we've definitely changed. Like you start to kind of get that sphere of people around you, right? Like, um, you know, you'll have the friends now instead of where you would normally used to say, let's go out for dinner or let's go do something else. It shifts and goes, you want to come over for dinner or do you want to go to, you want to come to my place for dinner? And that, that works out. And you kind of do things that are a bit more, let's call it frugal. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call myself cheap. I mean, I spend money on things that probably some people would think is stupid, right? Everybody has their own things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there's other ways that you see other people spending money that you think is, stupid. It all kind of works. It works that way, right? I mean, my big thing is cameras. I've taken lots of photographs. So if someone, if someone knows how much I spent on camera gear, although I don't buy a ton, like I don't chase gear, I'll do without stuff, but a camera is still expensive. And I think if a lot of people know how much, like if you actually look at how much a camera is now, they're quite pricey. But I mean, I use it, right? Um, I use it for filming if I'm filming videos, but I go out and take pictures quite a bit, and so I use it. But some people would think that's a silly, expensive hobby, which it is. But I don't. So I don't judge people with what if they want to do other things with their money. And if I can stay cheap, and then it allows me to buy another lens or something like that I want, I'll just do it that way, or put it into, I would rather than spend $100 for an evening out. I would literally rather put $100 and buy $100 with a Bitcoin and put it away, because I think of it kind of like I'm that once that evening is done, you go to see a movie, you buy popcorn at the movie, you maybe go out for dinner. It's expensive, right? And it's like then it's gone. But if I can put it aside down the road, it might be worthwhile. That's kind of how I that's how I think of investing a little bit too. I look at things you can cut back and save on to be able to put somewhere else for later. Yeah, cheap and prude. But everything's expensive, so you have to kind of go back, like think back of, I love where these conversations always go, but like think back. I mean, I think back of my parents and their parents living through these, think of back when there's wars going on now, right? But think of back when the whole entire world was in war, and the sacrifices they had to make with stuff because they just didn't have it. We're very fortunate. We're in a very fortunate time right now because we can literally go get anything we wanted basically anytime. Supply chain issues aside, with sometimes things not being available, but we can literally, we could go buy, it's in the middle of winter, we could go buy a strawberry if we wanted to, which is, it's mind blowing. So I think you have to look at, we have it quite easy where they actually had to make sacrifices with things, like I remember talking to my mom, and when they had rations and stuff like that, like they would get like a limited number of eggs in a week. That's all they had. That's all they could get, right? I think like 3 eggs or 2 eggs or whatever it was that they were allowed to kind of get because it just wasn't available. So they make these sacrifices for living. Yeah, had to live without the internet. No internet. I still remember no internet, which is kind of, it always seems, now it dates me, right? Do you even call it? You don't really even call it the internet anymore. I think it's just there, which is mind blowing, right? We used to have to go to the computer, plug, had to put the modem on and dial to get onto the internet, and then no one could talk on the phone in the house because you were online. and you just go, I don't know what you would do, surf the web, but no, it's everywhere, right? It's on like it's on your phone. You just turn on your it's literally on all the time, everywhere, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, no internet. We just went out as kids and rode our bikes and didn't come home until it got dark. That was basically it. That's how you knew you had to come home, when the sun went down. And no phones. Your parents had no way to get the way they got a hold of you was they'd go outside and yell your name, and then hopefully you answered, or you'd hear from some other kid that your mom was looking for you, because they'd ride up on their bike and say your mom's looking for you, you're in trouble. That's about it. And we rode our bikes without helmets, and yeah, the good old days. Yeah, that noise. I don't know how that worked. I guess it was connecting, but yeah, that's right. It had to connect that like ding ding na, na, na. Yeah, the static. And it was slow. The good old days. Yeah, there you go, right? Everybody's got their, you always have to have the bet, everybody's got a a hobby or vice they have to use. If you're into PC, that's awesome. If you're into it, you're into it. But I think that's part of the fun of it, right? It turns into more of a hobby. But if you go, if you're building your own, you enjoy it, right? So there's some time value of there if you're buying something. And if you shop for stuff, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make you cheap. It just makes you're probably looking for faster. I'm going to assume, like with computers, I'm not a computer. I mean, I'm techie, but I'm not I don't build my computers. But you're looking for like the best parts at the cheapest price to build a faster computer. Nothing wrong with that. Got to spend your money on something. You got to have a hobby. It's a hobby, and for me, it's camera stuff. Photography. Yeah, party lines. We never had a party line, so every time you would get, it would pick up, and I think sometimes it would like disconnect, and you'd yell, "It's like, I'm on the internet." Yeah. Oh, 2 GB hard drive. Yeah, mine was. I think I had a gigabyte at the time. What was it? It was like a Pentium, whatever, Pentium 133 or something. I can't even remember, but it was. I think it had like a 1.2 gigabyte hard drive. It was just like mind blowing, and a CD-ROM. And the CD-ROM, I don't think you could write. You remember writing on CDs? Remember those? Gosh. And then you had a CD-ROM, but then I remember Apple had their like, you could write on a DVD, and you could hold like way more data on the DVD versus the CD. And then yeah, I do. I sadly remember floppy disks too. We had them in school. We had the like the actual, not the plastic ones, like or not the hard plastic. We had that later, but like the actual like big floppy disk. And then you had a game. When you played a game, you had to like swap them in and out all the time. So the game would have like 10, because there was no space. Oh, the good old days. I don't think the computers don't even have floppy. Do they even have? I don't think they even have floppy. I mean, I know Macs don't, but yeah, we never had that, but I had friends that had that as well. It was like, I think it was like the Atari, or is it the Atari VIC-20? Yeah. You'd spent all day doing like the code, and then you'd play pong, like it would be like a ball that went across, the kind of thing. And then we had the thing in school, I remember elementary school, where it was like the little, what the heck was it was a Commodore 64. And then you would code, and then it was like a triangle that would draw a line. You could draw, and you would do enough code, and it would make like a star or something like that. That was like great. I don't know. I forget what it was, but really, really dating ourselves now. Yeah, there's definitely been some innovation on the tech side. That is for sure. Mind blowing. A lot has changed on tech. Oh, I guess on tech note, Candace, let me ask you, how's your new? Did you get your new computer yet? I think you got it this week. How's it working? If you got it. I just updated my Mac this week to what's that? It's not the latest operating system, but it's the newer one for me because all my Adobe stuff had to get upgraded or updated. There was updates for my Adobe programs for the video editing, but it didn't work on my version of. I'm always apprehensive of updating operating systems, especially on a little bit older computers, but it's been really working well. Like I'm running the Monterey, which isn't the latest one. The newest one is I'm behind as for being a tech. The newest one is Ventura, but I'm on Monterey. Seems to work awesome. I really like it. So yeah. Mac Studio. That would be a nice one to have. Maybe my next computer. This one's okay. My iMac is okay. And it must have Ventura because it's the latest computer. I'll probably do that. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. I don't like updating stuff during like my work week because it always seems to take a long time. And then just in case anything takes longer than expected, I don't want to be kind of without my computer for an extended period of time. I do have a laptop I can work on, but when you're set up with your computer, it's good. But I probably will upgrade to Ventura. I'm thinking like for that stock that I'm going to buy, I think one of them might be Apple because I can get that one fractional. I know Candace, I know your suggestion of XCG was good. So maybe that, and then maybe the rest Apple. I've been saying I want to buy Apple stock forever, just like I've been saying I wanted to buy Tesla. So I finally bought the Tesla CDR. Yeah. I bet you can edit videos or export videos really fast. It's kind of fun when you see your computer chugging along after upgrading from an older computer, especially, or not older, but less powerful. Yeah, makes life a lot easier for sure. I always know this hour has gone, I think, the fastest. Thanks everybody. And my coffee is almost getting done. And then Candace, we will have you on the stream. We got to figure that out. I have to email. I think about that every day, and then I forget to email. We'll get you on now that your computer's set up. That's what we'll do. Let's just see. Well, so let's go check. I think Apple was actually doing good today, so I think yeah, it's up 7% today. So the market is doing okay today. We've had like this is what's nice. And back to is it a bear? Is it a bear rally? Is it a bull? Are we back? I don't know, but it's nice to have a bit of green in October, which is nice for everybody. I'm happy about it. It's been a decent couple weeks with stuff in terms of channel updates. In terms of what I'll do a portfolio update because we're on Friday, so I always like to do the update after the markets close today, kind of a rundown of the week. But yeah, Mac sales good, iPhone not so good. Well, people are realizing they don't need it because this is the problem with, and I don't use iPhone. I'm a Mac person for ages. I haven't had an iPhone for a long time, but I mean, I'm not really a phone. I mean, I'm a phone person because I need it for work and stuff, but I'm not I could care less, partly because a lot of times on phones they're updating the cameras, and I use an actual DSLR camera. Like I have an actual camera that I use, so I don't take pictures with my cell phone at all. I don't film with my cell phone, and that's kind of a lot what they've been updating lately. It seems like that, and I think people are just realizing like, do we need to spend $1,500 or $1,000 on a new phone what do they release a new phone twice a year? It seems like twice a year they do like the iPhone, whatever it is, 14, and then they do like the 14S or like they used to have to always upgrade, and it's like, and there you go, iPhone 11, it's still like brand new. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the contracts, if you do it, I mean, I guess it's good in one way because you can buy the phone and you're free to kind of move wherever you're around. But like a lot of the places now with their contracts, you can have them unlocked and you can move somewhere else. Or it's only a 2-year contract now instead of, what was it, 3 before. So if you upgrade your phone, and buy it that way. But I don't see the point. Like the last time I upgraded my phone, I have an Android, and I almost wish I didn't, because I got the phone and then I realized my old one was fine. The new one had a bigger screen, which is great because my eyes are getting worse. But then I realized when I got the new phone, it didn't have a headphone jack anymore. And it's like, so, and then all my headphones were the old plug-in. So you have to go get an adapter, or some of them wouldn't work properly with the USB adapter, or you had to get Bluetooth, and then it wouldn't, like, and it's just like, I wish I just didn't upgrade. I almost went back and just used my old phone because I could plug in, and they don't give you headphones anymore when you buy them. So I had to buy, like, if you have the hands, like I had they used to give you like headphones for hands free, and it was like plugged in perfect, because Bluetooth is garbage. It never works properly, at least for me. I don't know. It always sounds terrible. But I don't know about AirPods, but if you get those little things, I lose them. So it's like, I want something on a cord that I can plug into my phone and not have to worry about, number one, charging all the time and everything else. So just don't upgrade. That's what people aren't, right? Kind of back, like iPhone 11 is how old now, but if it works, it works. That's the one thing about Apple, like, even, and their computers especially, they have a long shelf life in terms of working. I find they've always lasted a long time. Like my iMac is from 2020. Yeah, 2020. So I've had it for almost basically 3 years, and it's perfect. It's all more than what I need right now. So it's lasted a long time, and have had, not, like, knock on wood, no problems. So no plans to upgrade computers right now, because they're pricey too, unfortunately, with that. Although there's that new Mac Studio, which looks nice. Yeah, good. That's a nice machine, but will last you a very long time, which is good. There we go. So we're running up on an hour here, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we always get a good group of people. It's always nice to have a couple new faces come in, which is always good. In terms of, I'll just do a recap of the channel. So if you haven't checked out the latest videos, make sure you check out the one about I'm going to do that subscription challenge. So we'll do that for a year starting next week, because we'll do it on the 1st. Check out that video if you haven't already. I know a few people have watched it and left comments. Yikes. Eesh. Expensive. $6,000. I think well spent, though. You know what? That's okay. It'll definitely last you more than a year, for sure. That's awesome. Jealous on the computer front. But anyways, channel. So check out that last video. I'll do an upgrade. Talking about computers here. I'll do an update on the channel over the weekend, just to show how the portfolio is doing. No plans to do a deposit today on anything, kind of covered with that. But next week, I'll start the new so there will be a poll at some point on my channel as well with what's kind of stock or ETF to get to kind of do that challenge for the year. So we'll do that we'll start that on the 1st, which is, it's crazy that it's almost the 1st. So it's Halloween coming up. Maybe it's Halloween Monday, right? So we'll do a Halloween theme. Maybe we'll have a pumpkin patch at the beginning instead of the fire. And then that's all for the weekend. So no live streams on the weekend, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. We're back next week, the regular time, 8 o'clock to 9 on Monday to Friday, with a quick banter, start with the market and see where everything goes. So that's all, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great Friday. TGIF, my coffee is empty, and I'm going to go fill it up, and we'll see you all in the next one.